So thank you, Noressa, for speaking to us this afternoon. Can you tell us a bit about yourself, your home, your current employment, and why you chose your specific field of studies?
Okay, I'm Noressa Bulsey. I'm from the Torres Strait. My family is from Boigu Island and Murray Island. And I live here in Bachelor. And I chose my field of studies because I was encouraged by other students of Bachelor Institute at that time to do teacher education. Yeah.
And what about your family?
My family,
Who live with you?
yeah, my family is here in Bachelor. My daughter and husband, they're graduates of Bachelor Institute. My daughter works as a manager here as student services, and my husband works as a residential coordinator here at Bachelor.
And you mentioned it was the students who encouraged you. What kind of things did they say to encourage you to take up studies?
Well, they were all our friends. They were all teacher education students. And at that time, I worked in the kitchen as a kitchen hand here at Bachelor College. And they said, "Oh, sis, you shouldn't do that. You should think about doing something for yourself and come and do teacher ed." And I went home and I thought about it and I thought, yeah, it's better than washing dishes. I should go and do something and get educated. Yeah.
That's good. So, what higher education courses have you studied at Bachelor Institute?
The first one was the Bachelor of Arts in Education through Bachelor and Deakin University. That was my first higher ed. And then the second one was my grad cert in Education Administration. And then I did the third one, the grad diploma in Education Administration, here at Bachelor. Yeah. So I did the BIITE program, which was the Deakin and Bachelor Aboriginal Teacher Education course. And I graduated out of that in 1987, 88.
Right.
Yeah, the last.
What was the reasons for choosing those degrees, those studies?
Well, I like administration, so that's why I went down educational administration, because I like doing administration job. Yeah, I find it really challenging because you learn a lot about, I find if I want to go out teaching, you've got to have all these other things that make up a teacher package. Like, you need to know all the administration that is required when you're a qualified teacher. Yeah.
Were you the first one in your family to study a higher education degree?
Yeah, I was the first in my family, yeah.
And when did you begin your higher education studies? What year?
86 was the first one, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure the year, but I know it was in the 80s. And then I did my grad cert, 96 and 97, the grad diploma.
And did you live at Bachelor?
I live in Bachelor. I lived in the town. We actually was renting housing commission house here with my daughter and son and husband.
And when did you graduate with your higher education degree?
I think either 87 or 88, or maybe different date. Can't remember that year now, because I was trying to think. It was a 3-year thing BIITE had here. But I did it in 97 was my last one.
Okay.
Yeah. And 96 one, we had our graduation, Bachelor College. I had their first graduation in the Torres Strait. So our families in the Torres Strait invited us to the cultural festival in 1996 to have our first Torres Strait Bachelor Institute, first Torres Strait graduation in the Torres Strait and on Thursday Island.
Yeah, that would have been special.
It was very special because my sister was graduating at the same time, and my cousin, and so we all went back, and my cousin's family from Saibai, they the dancers. They had a guard of honor, yeah. So they danced us up, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So just a couple of questions about the enrolment process. Did anybody help you to enroll, and was it online or was it, old school?
Old school, we had paperwork, yeah. No, nobody helped me, I just did it myself, yeah.
Good. Can you tell me about some of the challenges and struggles you encountered during your studies?
I think the one that really challenged me was the academic writing, because when I was doing my grad cert and grad diploma in admin, you had to do a lot of writing. So I remember our first assignment was a 20,000 word document we had to do, and at that time our lecturer was precise about you had to give 20,000. You're not allowed to do any other word, I found that really challenging. And the debate one, I remember walking out that door saying to that old man, he finished now, I won't mention his name, and he said, "You got to come back here, you got to challenge yourself." And I said, "Well, I can't understand this English language." It was because it was really heavy, but it was important that I overcome that. And so I thought back to my dad when in the Torres Strait. When my dad, we used to say things like chuck, like chuck that clothes or chuck that thing down for that washing, And my dad used to say, "There's no such word as chuck. That's a steak. You girls got to learn to think English." So when I was doing that came back to my memory for my dad, because he really wanted us to learn the English language. Yeah. And so I think it was just me persevering and working with tutors to help us, and working all hours of the night, like we used to work long hours. But again, I think it's because the deacon staff that came up here, they were so supportive. And then my lecturer in grad cert and grad diploma, they were really supportive. So they worked with us, But yeah, it was the English writing, and that was really, that academic writing was a struggle. Yeah.
Were there other services or support that helped you during your studies?
No, just mainly our lecturers was the one, yeah, that helped us.
I think what about academic support? Was it the same?
It was the same. It was just through all our lecturers, because our lecturers were very supportive for us, and because my lecturer in the grad cert and grad diploma was an Indigenous person herself, so she knew what it was like to study as an Indigenous student, yeah.
Can you talk about any other pastoral support or support from your family or support from even your community or bachelor during those years of study that helped you?
Well, I kind of coasted through myself because I worked here at that time as the student counselor at Bachelor Institute. So I can switch off and come back on study mode in there just because I was in that field of work. So yeah, so I was able to juggle everything as a student counselor, yeah, on myself, yeah.
Did you receive any financial support?
No.
Now, this is an important question. Did you acquire the knowledge and skills that you expected or you needed to, or you wanted to learn?
Yes, I did, yes.
Okay. And did you end up working in the area of your study, or did you change your career pathway?
That career pathways changed because I was in the counseling role, doing the counseling. So well, I suppose it helped anyway too, but I really worked as a counselor, student counselor here, and then I worked as our cross-cultural officer, here at Bachelor. So it kind of ventured away from my quals, yeah.
So your first degree was in education?
Education,
so
teacher education.
Did you work in education
Only
anywhere?
Only when I went teaching Um,
Tell us about that.
oh yes, so I was a primary trained teacher, and I went to teach at Wollongong Homeland Christian College, and that was really good because it allowed me to be who I was as an Indigenous person. So everything I learned at Bachelor from all our students, you know what I mean? We were like one big family. So we all taught each other, you know, share stories. And I think it's because of what I learned at Bachelor, not only in the studies, but also from all the students that we made friends with. And I incorporated all of that in my teaching practice when I went out to Wollongong Homeland Christian College, yeah. And it allowed me to be a Indigenous teacher in an Indigenous setting, which was really good.
You kind of answered this already, but can you just explain how your training was inclusive of your knowledge and your culture and your language?
Well, it was, I think it was really inclusive because I had to keep thinking about my culture when I was doing training here at Bachelor. And one of our lecturers, we were doing things on space, you know, and as he got us running around here, like, you know, running around to, you know, feel the space and everything, I had to draw on my Torres Strait culture to look through that lens to answer the way our lecturer was teaching us, you know, and I go, if I was in the Torres Strait, I'd only be running around as a kid knocking almond, you know, I was putting that space into that context, and I thought, oh gosh, if my family would see me now, they'll crack up laughing. And I said, so this is what they mean in the Western side. But I had to draw on my cultural knowledge to be able to marry the two together. And then I thought, yeah. And then when I was in Wollongong Homeland Christian College, teaching, what I learned here, like I was able to demonstrate it in that classroom, and allowing the kids to have ownership of their learning. You know, it was. I think if I didn't do Bachelor, I wouldn't have been able to do that. To really look through my lenses, look through the children's lenses, and then marry the curriculum that needed to be taught in the classroom together.
It's a really good example.
Yeah. Because and I think, you know, for our kids, we need that. For our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island kids, we need that. We need our teachers to be looking through that, especially us as teachers when we go out to look through our lenses, and look through the kids' lenses that will meet the Western knowledge that is taught to the kids at school. We need Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander teachers to be teaching our kids.
That's true. So final question, what advice would you give to someone in your community who wants to study higher education at Bachelor Institute? Or even just higher education anywhere?
Yeah, I think it's good to share your story, encourage our young generation today. And anyone that wants to study, you know, just encourage them. But I think you have to tell your story, you know. You have to share that story. And you have to put all the parts in that story. You can't just miss any part. So they know. You have to give them a true account of your experience as a student, you know. Because if not, if you don't give them that, then the students will come in with too much hopes, you know. So I'd encourage our people in the community to have a go at it, but to share our stories, yeah, our experience, yeah, and they'll make their own experience when they come in, yeah.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you, Noressa.
You're welcome, Robin.